Hey guys, got a little twofer review coming at you here. It's going to be kind of a budget AR build, um, essentially a build, essentially from the ground up. So for starters, I wanted a new kind of like combat carbine, just a basic AR, because my other AR has the free float rail, a bull barrel, match grade barrel, 16-inch barrel with a 15-inch handguard, all that stuff. It gets a little heavy, and I wanted something just with a red dot. I put a 6-24 power scope on the other one. So I wanted something just with a red dot and iron sights, just to kind of do some CQB training and just to be kind of a cheap beater, and more like what I was issued, more similar to my M4 as far as having standard A2 grip, mil spec stock, standard handguard. Now I did have the quad rail, but I just like the color matching of this, and this is nice and light. I don't really need a grip or any of that other stuff, so just gonna leave this as is. Fixed front sight, standard A2 bird cage. I like all that stuff. Just a basic red dot here. So that's gonna be the part 2 of this review. So I just went out and put probably 200 rounds or so through this yesterday. All total, this entire package, sling, rifle, optic, backup sight, you're looking still under 500 bucks. So that's pretty good. So what I did is I was looking at the PSA Freedom AR, which is what this is. It's your basic PSA Freedom lower, Freedom upper. Just the basic bare bones, all mil spec furniture, mil spec internals, mil spec trigger. The one thing I did upgrade was the Magpul winter trigger guard, so I did change that out. I like having that. But anyway, just to run through it. Runs awesome, runs incredibly well. It zeroed very easy, holds a nice tight group. I was using Telamo 62 grain steel case, and it actually shot really well. I did shoot some 5.56 NATO rounds through this, green tips. They also shoot really well. It's a 1-in-7 twist NATO barrel. Has your M4 profile with the cut for the 203 underbarrel. Basic sling swivels. I am using the one here for the sling attachment point, and I'm using the one through the buttstock around the buffer tube for that attachment point. This one tends to get in my way for shoulder transitions. That sling does some really goofy stuff when it's attached there. This just allows it to move a little bit more. Not a super huge fan of that, but for not changing out the stock and having a QD mount or anything like that, it works awesome. So the rifle runs great. All the furniture's decent for what you'd expect for mil spec. I had read some stuff and watched some videos from John Lavelle about a weird, he had an issue with a recoil impulse. It was kind of a delayed, sluggish recoil impulse, and it was actually because of the buffer. I think Palmetto State changed that since he did his video, because I had zero issues running this thing. The timing on it is great. It's a little overgassed, to be honest. You do get some blowback, especially initially. This thing was kind of over-lubed, even for an AR. Okay, so the rifle runs awesome. I will put links in my description to the sling and the optic and the MBUS backup sights, if I can, for the backup sights. So the optic was $29.99 on Amazon. It is a Feyachi TRS-25. I think that's how you pronounce her name, Feyachi, whatever. But I'll put a link to it. So I did have one issue with this, and this optic ships with a skeletonized 1-inch riser mount. Okay, the problem I had was that when I read the question and answer section on the Amazon listing, it said somebody had asked, does this co-witness with standard iron sights? And the company replied that yes, it does. It's a lower third co-witness. Well, put everything on here. No, it does not co-witness at all. This riser is too tall. You cannot see anything as far as your iron sights through the optic. So I messaged the company about it. I actually sent them some pictures, kind of what I was dealing with. They were really appreciative. So anyway, to fix that, I ordered a UTG, and I will link this as well. This is the RS08S3 UTG tactical mount. It has a quick set thumb screw with little holes so you can get an Allen wrench in there and kind of lock that down a little tighter. I had no walking. This thing held to zero. Awesome. Throwing it in and out of the truck, going to different parts of the gun club and stuff. So anyway, the little riser mount was $7. I got in touch with the manufacturer, Feyachi, through Amazon's email system and whatnot, which there were some problems there, but I won't go into that. Amazon doesn't like you emailing their pictures of the actual firearm. So I had to be really careful about what I was taking pictures of and only taking a picture of the sight picture, and it's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, so this mount was $7. I got with the manufacturer. They actually refunded me $12 for the trouble and for taking some pictures and telling them what was up. So anyway, any 0.83 inch riser mount will work, and it will give you a nice lower third co-witness. So just in the lower third portion of the glass here, I can see my iron sight's perfect, and that's what I wanted. So as far as the optic goes, zeroed really easily. I do like that you have the turret caps, of course, and then for your adjustments, a lot of these cheaper red dots don't have a tactile or audible click when you make your adjustments. These do. So even at that $30 price point, this has a very nice tactile and audible click for each adjustment. And best I can figure, I don't have the box anymore. That got thrown in recycling. It's about a half MOA adjustment, which is plenty good enough for a red dot. I was hitting a probably 4 or 5 inch AR 500 steel gong at 50 yards with the red dot. No problem. Time and time again, firing pretty quickly. So that worked great. I practiced some holds and stuff with it. Another awesome piece of equipment here is the Magpul MS1 sling. So these are about $30 on Amazon. It's a little pricey for a sling, but it is the cheaper. There are more expensive ones, like the Blue Force Gear Vickers sling is a really good one. And it has the quick pull tab so you can adjust your length of sling. This one does not have the tab hanging off, which I like. I actually need to tie this back or shorten it up. But you just grab the outsides of this clip here and you can adjust your sling so you can swim out of it, whatever. When you go back to wanting the rifle slung, this is a lot easier to do when it's on you. You just grab that and nice and quick, you can't see it, but you can hear it, adjust right back up so then that rifle's not swinging around all over the place. But yeah, overall, awesome optic for the price. We'll see how it holds up. I watched some other videos where they're beating these things with water bottles and throwing the rifle and all kinds of craziness, and it seemed to hold up pretty well. And if any issues, can't beat a Magpul backup sight and a fixed front sight post. Actually really accurate with those. So to give you an idea of the accuracy of this rifle, so this was at 30 yards. I will eventually push this out to a 36 yard zero. But let's turn here a little bit so you can see this instead of me. So my first group with iron sights, and this is on a standard 25 meter zeroing target. This is a zeroing target for the M16 and the M4. It's what I was trained on, so it's what I like. I know the sight picture real well. So anyway, my first group was a little shaky, and I think that may be just because the rifle was over lubed or something. It could have been me. It was my first 3 shots of the day. So 30 yards, that was my first group there. Second group was here, and then my last group, I was shooting rather quickly, because at this point I knew I did not want to, I knew my elevation was good. I didn't want to mess with that for the distance I was shooting. because I was consistent elevation wise. I just really wanted to get my left and right in. So I was more worried about my trigger squeeze. I wasn't paying attention to breathing and all that kind of stuff. So if you can tell, that last group is right here. So a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I shot a couple confirmations, 7, 8. So 8 rounds, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 rounds. I had the iron sights zeroed. Okay, and then my next, that was my other rifle. This was zeroing the red dot, and I kind of bore sighted this in so I knew it would be on paper. So my first group was here, and this was aiming at the center. My second group was this one right here, so I was actually able to adjust it right on down and over. I got that pretty close. And then my last group, my first 2 shots hit dead center, and then my last shot was a flyer. I shot quick, whatever. You know, as long as it's close, I'm good. I don't have to be stacking them in there. I know that those 2 were true, and that was me. That was shooter error there. This flyer over here. So that was neither the rifle or the red dot there. But anyway, like I said, I will post links to the optic and the sling and the backup sight if I can in the description. And so far, so good. 200 rounds in on the PSA Freedom, and it is shooting awesome. This red dot is great. I really think for an under $500 setup, you really cannot go wrong with this. Now, if you were to walk in and buy this off the shelf, it would be a little more expensive. But what I did is ordered the complete lower, complete PSA Freedom lower that shipped to Palmetto State Armory. I went and picked it up. And then I ordered the complete barreled assembly, complete upper with the bolt carrier group and the charging handle. And that shipped straight to my door. So it took about a week for the lower to come in and about 5 days or so for the upper to come in. So if you don't mind waiting a couple days, if you're not itchy, you don't have to walk right in and walk out with it that day. It's a great, awesome way to go. There are so many videos detailing everything about the internals on these. I'm not going to go into it. All I will say is they are mil-spec quality, and the bolt is magnetic particle inspected, and the bolt carrier is Carpenter steel. So it is a really good running, good shooting rifle. I'm super happy with it. And I think this one will be around for a really long time. I don't see myself getting rid of it anytime soon. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. I will be back with more updates. I'm going to make another video shooting this thing now that I've got it all dialed in. Maybe doing some running gun, kind of 3-gun competition type stuff. Oh, side note, that little optic does come with a little bikini lens cover. So I like that when they include lens caps. I hate it when you get an optic that doesn't have them. Anyway, enough rambling for me. You guys have a great night. I'll get this video loaded and see you guys next time.